One of the many areas that we get involved in at DJ Learning is team building. They are always really exciting events because we work with groups of people from all over the place and work with them to see how they can build a team. We always have a journey of discovery because quite often when our clients come to us, they'll have a perception of how they're going to be and how they're going to work together as a team. By the time they leave us, they may well have some very different perspectives. If you look at the traditional way of having a team, you have a team leader and then you have various roles and responsibilities from within that team. And of course, one of the roles of everybody within the team actually, but ultimate responsibility would in most cases rest with the team leader. You need to get your people in the right roles at the right times for the right reasons. So in other words, you look to maximize the potential of your team resource. Lots of things underpin this and as an absolute need to be in place if you're going to build a team. So as well as this role clarity, you have to have working relationships, collaborative working relationships where there is clear trust with each other. There has to be, particularly every workplace now is just getting busier and busier, and seniors in organisations are asking us to do more and more with less and less resource. So if you are working in a team environment where there is trust and positive working relationships, it can make a huge difference to how that team performs. So we spend a lot of time working on that and looking to understand how clients see their workplace in terms of having this trusting working relationship, of having really a positive workplace environment. We also spend some time thinking about the real world in which we work. And I've had 30 years thereabouts working for organisations across the UK and in other parts of the world, and the last 10 years I've been working for clients in all different parts of the world. So this workplace reality is something that is very important to me in terms of the context of what we work on in these events, and therefore gives a context for all the learning that we deliver. Because unless you understand what we learn, how that transfers to the workplace, it's not real. It's not real. We also spend time thinking about what you've got to work with. So by that I mean, what's your budget? What's your space? What's your IT support? How many people? For many of us, we have what we have. For many of us, what we have is not enough, which means it is really important that you understand how you maximize the use of the resources that you have. It is really important, and without exception, all of us can work together as a collective in a team environment and deliver more effectively. No exceptions, we can all do that. The key enablers in the real world, in your workplace, is how we look to incentivize those people in our team. How we reward and recognize what our team members do, either individually or collectively. And those rewards can be financial and non-financial, and of course, particularly in today's tough and getting tougher marketplaces, there are constraints on the financial rewards you can give in many of our organizations. You also have the importance of having a performance management system whereby you can work with everybody in your team and look how well they're performing and how they can continue to develop and grow as individuals and add more and more to the team in which they work. So we spend time looking at your performance management systems and appraisal systems. We also spend time talking about how you can monitor the performance of your team. The key assumption there, of course, is you know what each of your team members is up to at any one point in time. That sounds enormously simple, but you'd be surprised how many of our clients come to us and they say, well, actually, my boss doesn't know. And that's not necessarily a disadvantage because you can be self-managed as well. But unless your team leader knows and understands what you've done, how can they recognise the contribution that you've made to the team? It is also really important that you empower your team, that you allow them to grow. It means as a collective you can deliver more. A really good example of that from my own workplace experience was, I can remember, I've had over the years many different teams that have worked directly with me, and I can remember having people around me that had areas of expertise which was their passion. And it was great for me as their line manager because I knew I could pass that on to them as a member of my team. And yes, of course, I needed to keep a hand on what they were up to, but they were self-managed. They were really driven to deliver in their area of expertise. That means as team leader, you embrace that, you don't feel frightened by it. On our events, one of the things that makes all of this really interesting, because what I've tried to do is just to highlight some of the things that perhaps you're familiar with, at least in word, but we test those against your workplace reality and workplace realities that we can share with you. So we challenge, we test. And so when you say the words about team and team performance and performance management, we'll test how well they work. So you'll go away from one of our events thinking, do you know what, there's a series of ideas that we can actually make a difference to our workplace when we go back. And even better, in many cases, if you come to one of our events where we have a combination of classroom training or online training and outdoor training, team building exercises, now then we really do get surprises. Because one of the things so many organisations don't capture is the full skill sets of those people that they have come through their door every day. Why? Because they don't know what's going on outside, and perhaps that's right, but going on outside means potentially different skills and competencies are being used elsewhere but not in the workplace. So if you look at outside exercises as a team, goodness, you see different roles and responsibilities emerging that team had never thought about at the start of our event. Quite often, if we've got people building rafts in the middle of a lake, or going to have to abseil down a cliff edge, or going out on 4x4s, you get all sorts of different roles and responsibilities. And interestingly enough, in that situation, one of the team members, perhaps sometimes I can give you examples, the quietest member in your team in the workplace, they come to the fore. They're organising, they're planning, they're allocating roles and responsibilities, they're leading. And people around look and think, gosh, what's that all about? Where that translates back into the workplace, of course, is creating that environment where each of the people in your team can really grow, can really work together as a collective, where there's that relationship of trust and a really positive working environment. It's a really exciting series of events that we run, and we really hope we have the opportunity to do those with you. Please have a look at our website, www.djlearning.co.uk, where it'll give you a little bit more information about these events. Thank you very much.